Just now, we're going to be sun-kissed right here with Audrey Chirenje. We're reading books today.
Yes. How are you, Marisa?
I'm very well, Audrey. How are you?
Great.
Did you miss Morning Rush last week?
I did. Obviously, I did. I was having withdrawal symptoms.
I know. I remember speaking to Tinashe Kusema. He does the movies, and he's like, "You guys didn't tell me there's no Morning Rush. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning." Shame. But anyways, we love hanging out with you. We love talking books. And today we are speaking about a special book. It's called Episodes. This book is by Tichaona Nhizwa. Is that how you say the name?
Yeah, Nhizwa.
Nhizwa.
Yes.
Tichaona Nhizwa. He's written this book on episodes, and this is what we're going to be discussing with Audrey this morning. Now, episodes, that just sounds like a series. When I saw that, I was like, oh, is this a series? Is it going to be different episodes of, what's happening? Audrey, can you tell us what this book is about?
Okay, first and foremost, let me just give you a bit of background on the author. So he's living with disability. He uses a wheelchair to walk, and he's an ICT holder from the Harare Polytechnic, HIV and AIDS activist,
as well, yeah.
Environmentalist, yeah. And then he's also an author, and he also does beading on the side. So he's a man of many talents.
Yeah, he's the founder of Inyasha Beading.
Definitely.
Inyasha African Beads Wear.
Yes, so his profile is so profound, and even meeting him is just a profound person. So this book is a fiction book, and we always moan on how we don't have enough fiction books. But what he did with this book is he wrote about a guy called Mkudze. And then, he comes from a very rich family, goes to a private school. And when he's born, he had 2 elder sisters. Mm-hmm. When he was born, I just imagined everyone was happy they'd finally got a son.
Yeah.
But years later on, it turns out he had epilepsy.
Okay. Did they know? They didn't know this condition. They only knew when he had gotten older.
Exactly. So when he had a few incidents, that's when they then took him to the doctors, and it was discovered that he had epilepsy.
He had epilepsy. So in that situation, when they discovered that, how do people deal with a situation like that? Because I do know that some people will just be like, you akaroiwa, or there's what, and a lot of people can go seek traditional help or from hospitals. What happened in this situation?
That's exactly what happened, because you find that the parents, they couldn't handle it. They were very prominent in church, very prominent in business, and to them, this son was like an embarrassment. Right. So they did try to go to the doctors. He was on medication, but then it wasn't improving. So they decided to go to the Amapostor on the side, and then Nganga on the side. So it was now like a concoction of
remedies.
Yes,
okay.
And obviously it was to the detriment of the son. And eventually they did the worst thing ever. They hid him at their farm. Literally hid them and pretended to live life like he didn't exist.
So he was out at the farm on his own?
On his own with the farm manager and the staff there. But then, not to give any spoilers, he just turned his life around. And you know what? In life, there are always people who are willing to help.
Yes.
And all I can say is this book ends with a happy ending.
Yeah. And you talking about how there's always a happy ending in the end. What are some of the things that we need to do as a community or as people to really be educated on some of these disabilities? I have a phenomenal friend of mine. His name is Edmo. He has disabilities, but he's achieved so much in his life. And you're thinking, okay, I seem to be normal and I haven't even achieved all of that stuff. But what are some of the themes and some of the things that you can maybe point out to us how we can actually accept and learn how to live with people with disabilities?
Very profound point, Marisa. Even personally for me and my children, I mean, before interacting with him, I didn't even know that this was possible. But when you interact with him, he's just a normal person like all of us. And he's done so much more, like you're saying, than most of us. Yeah. But then I think maybe from a very young age, I think even preschool, we need to teach people, the children, even the communities. There must be, I think, initiatives to embrace people living with disabilities and just show that they're just like one of us. Yeah.
And education is always key, just to really know and understand. You'll never love what you don't understand. So just understanding a situation, because I know to educate children, hey, when this happens, I remember growing up, there was a child who had epilepsy, one of our friends, and I remember her parents would tell us and say, whenever you see her drop on the floor and shake and foam, put her on the side or put her in front of the fan or take a spoon and put it on her tongue so she doesn't swallow her tongue. So I think just being educated in this situation. And I do know that in this book, the people who helped this young man took him to the UK.
Eventually, yes, they did. Yes.
And then he got educated on that and just started really living normally.
Yes, and like you're saying about, I liked what you said about the first aid. He actually put at the end of the book, he put a first aid step-by-step pictorial page so that people can know. So he's really trying to educate people, that awareness, and he's using it through writing, fiction. And all I can say is this guy is one of those brilliant writers.
Wow.
Trust me, this is not going to be the last book you hear from him.
Is that his first book?
It's his first book.
Okay, and where can we get this book?
This book is available at Hatiperi, Eastgate Mall, Innovate bookstores, and also direct from the author. He's on all social media, Tichaona Nhizwa. And also, let me just take this moment to thank the people, because there are people who actually came around to fund this project.
This project?
Yes,
Wow.
the people who actually came around. And some of them, he puts them in the acknowledgements, but some of them didn't even want to be mentioned. So there are good people out there.
Yeah. It's just a matter of awareness and really speaking about some of these issues. So that's your next, because I do see that you're launching a lot of stuff on Facebook as well, Audrey. So that's your next one, bringing awareness to situations like this, high teas. I'd love to be there, thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Marisa.
Thanks so much to Audrey Chirenje. Let me have a look at this book again. It's Tichaona Nhizwa. On all social media platforms, this book is $10, innovative stores, and at Eastgate Mall, you will get your hands on this. And, I'm also just looking forward to reading the pictures, like, as you said, the pictorial guidelines of how to really help somebody who has disabilities in your communities. Audrey Chirenje, thank you so much for joining us right here on Morning Rush.
Thank you.
We'll see you again next week.